gonna be. No matter what comes our way, we'll be together.
Welcome to Homeschooling Down South. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Kat. We're two Southern homeschooling mamas sharing real talk, resources, and inspiration for life and learning in the Southeast.
Each week, we'll chat with inspiring voices in the homeschool community, highlight must-see nature spots and field trip gems, and share resources from across the region.
Whether you're new to homeschooling or a seasoned pro, pull up a chair and join us as we celebrate the joy, freedom, and community of homeschooling down south.
We'll laugh together, we'll learn together, find the joys in life together, give each other grace and space to be.
Welcome back, y'all. We are excited to share something with you guys that we have actually sort of already talked about on the show, but we're going to talk about Weather Education Day at the Braves, something that we both got to experience. And this was almost not an episode. And we talked about it. This is kind of a wild journey. So let's get into it.
Yeah. The cool thing that I think everybody needs to know is we didn't just go to Weather Education Day at the Braves. Homeschooling Down South hosted a group of people from our area, which Kayla's mostly going to talk about because she handled the majority of the steps of that process. And I supported in some ways, but like I had been out of town the weekend before. Kayla just really took the lead on this. So we're going to get into that. And I think that is part of what drove us to decide we did want to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we had our experiences, but also we've had shared with us maybe some different than what we experienced feedback from the folks who came with us. So yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so Kat and I had decided as part of Homeschooling Down South, we want to host field trips in the region. So make sure you're following us on all the social medias to stay in the loop and know about these things. And so our first one was the Weather Education Day at the Braves, and had a wonderful experience coordinating with the Braves to get our tickets. They mailed the tickets so fast. I think I called to place the order while I was at the beach on a Monday, and we were planning to be home on Wednesday, and the tickets were in my mailbox on Tuesday. So they get the tickets out to you very fast, and you get the tickets, and then you get a set of vouchers for the meal. And because of our experience at Science Education Day, we held the tickets. We held the vouchers for the meals. And so all we had to do was turn those in. We sent some of the husbands to go get them, and they have them all boxed up and ready for you. Like they've pre-portioned out. They supposedly have pre-portioned out your amount per ticket, but we had so much extra.
We had extra.
Food.
And
so much extra.
We thought it was going to be the hot dog, the bottle of water, and a snack, but we ended up with 2 snacks all around, right?
Chips and popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a template that we got from our local homeschool group to kind of use to set up the field trip, which was such a wonderful resource. So we just had people RSVP. We had a way for them to send their money, and then we just, bought the tickets in bulk. Like we talked about with Science Education Day, you absolutely can just order tickets just for your family. There's no minimum. But we did want to do this as a group and kind of alleviate that mental load for the families that we were taking with us, because we felt comfortable and confident to do this. And that way, we all go together. And I think sometimes it's nice to just know that someone else is in charge.
Yes. Know someone else is in charge, and also know that someone else is kind of with you.
Yeah.
Like, you did not have to in any way, shape, or form hang out with Homeschooling Down South while you were there on quote unquote the field trip. We were hosting our field trip. But I think it's nice to know that you can, that if you want to sit with another family that you either know or you know of, it just adds a level of comfort.
Yeah. And that somebody else has asked the questions and gotten the information, so you don't have to. And you have that personal contact of someone you can go to. You are not having to call the Braves. And I think, too, our goal is really just to create these pathways for people to have these experiences. We're not certainly making any sort of presentation or anything. We're just creating an avenue for people to have these experiences. So that was kind of the background of it. I will say we do our current field trip signups on Facebook. We'll post about them on TikTok and Instagram, but there's no great way on those platforms to have those signups. So
Yeah, Facebook just thankful I mean, whether you like Facebook or not, one of the things that it can do that none of the others can do is this, like, event
yeah.
RSVP sign up kind of
And
protocol.
down the road, the goal will be to have it all traffic directed to our website and you sign up
Yes.
on our website, but we're still
We're
baby
still
potatoes
new.
over here.
Yeah.
So
Stick with us. The journey has just begun.
yes, yes. And that was basically the process of setting up the field trip. I'm telling you, the Braves made everything so seamless. They send you a form with all this information on it. And we even had a last minute addition of a couple people, and they were so easy to work with. They were like, hey, we'll just leave your extra tickets at guest services. And I just walked up, told them who I was, and they gave me the tickets. I mean, it was so seamless
Yeah, so you started out by emailing, is that right? Emailing to say, "We're interested," or did you call?
because
Okay.
I know this will come as a shock to everyone, but I like to talk it out.
I'm the
I
most
just
shocked.
right, right. I like the back and forth versus I'm gonna send all of my thoughts in this email, and then I'm gonna wait for you to return my email with all of your thoughts, and then if I have thoughts to add on to it's just like, let's just have a phone call and just be done with it. So I called, and they will send you a form that you can fill out, and then you have to print it out and scan it back in and whatever. But I just called and paid for them over the phone. It was the easiest
So,
thing.
you basically, like, called and they filled out the form over the phone with you. So that's nice to know, like, whichever way you
Sure.
are whichever way your bent is, if you'd rather send the email or you'd rather make the phone call, either one will work. Nice. Okay. So, that was how you got us rolling. We got the tickets, and then the way that we handled ticket pickup is that I positioned myself at a couple public places in our area. Like, one of them is just like a open public outdoor space, and I said, "I'll be there on this date for an hour." We actually had a great time there. That was the day that my son found first a snake in the creek. He's like, "Mommy, there's a snake," and he did everything the way we've practiced it, and then he found a snake skin, but the best part about all of it is he wanted to message Miss Kayla.
The last person in the world who wants to see that mess.
And we did have one family come meet us there, and so it was fruitful for me. Like, my son and I had a great outdoor hour, and then this family came, and I got to meet them, so that they had a face for coming, because we had not met them before. I posted up at the farmer's market one day, and then since we knew a lot of the families who were coming were a part of the enrichment program that we do, I also said I would, during lunchtime, a couple times be available there, and that's also a public place, sort of. It's, like, near a public place, so and that just made it really easy to distribute the tickets, which felt good to not be responsible for anyone's tickets except for our own and those ones that you had to pick up at guest services that morning, which was so easy.
So easy.
And then we also got to, for the people that we didn't know, we knew a lot of the people who were going, but for those who we didn't know, it was great to have one of us meet them face to face. And then you did something really great is you made this graphic that you posted about a week before that had just like all kinds of tips, like
Mhm.
things that if you listened to our episode about the science education day that we went to last spring, just things that like we learned about like where to park and how to get parking validated and what what you could bring in for food, all those kinds of details. You made a really like easy to read graphic. And then the other thing that was really cool is for people we could say, "Hey, go back and listen to this episode."
Yeah.
And you'll hear us talk about what we learned, what it was like, and, like, I think we each in that episode gave, like, our top 3 things we would do differently next time.
And we did them.
So and we did them, and then and I saw a lot of the families who joined us did them as well. It was great to be able to equip people so well. That graphic you made was so great.
I'll be perfectly honest, I'm gonna have to go back and look at it because I don't even remember it, and I want to be cautious about taking credit because 'cause I'm like, "Did I just repost the graphic that the Braves sent me?" I can't remember, so
I
just
think so. Because I remember you said, "I'm making this," and then you posted it. and it
Listen,
was very helpful.
I have
It's
slept
okay.
since then,
Yeah.
so
It was
but
in the
I
past. We did it, and then we moved on to all the other things
we
we
had to
have to do.
clear the browser,
Yes.
and yeah,
You did. You made it. I know
sure,
you did, 'cause
we're gonna go with that.
it was things we talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, I love it.
Um, okay, so we got there. We got there day of, and I think we went in very confident, both in terms of, like, here's how to have a great day for my family, but also we went in really thinking we knew what to expect from the programming.
And we were so wrong.
Yes.
And this is the portion of the episode where you find out why this episode almost didn't exist. And here's the thing. Here's what I want to make abundantly clear. I am so grateful to the Braves, and I am so grateful to the folks from the news, the Weather Service, Emergency Weather Service. Is that what they're
The
called?
National Weather Service.
National Weather Service. Those folks who came and gave of their time. I am truly grateful. But I will say that when we went in, we were expecting it to be comparable to the science education day, which was wildly interactive, so fun and engaging. And both days were warm. And my crew at least, was in the sun for both of those days. I know you guys were with us in the sun this time. Were you guys in the sun at
Yes.
the science? Okay.
Well, I think the science education day, it was hot, but it was foggy in the morning. Do you remember that? Like, it
Girl,
was,
we
like,
were roasting.
misty. I mean, it was hot, but it wasn't, like, sun hot. It was that, like, wet hot, because the sun did come out later that day,
Yeah.
but that in the morning, we didn't have the sun heat. We just had the, like, sticky heat, and then for weather education day, we had
Oh my
both.
gosh. We were, I mean, in direct sunlight. It was so hot. And I really just want to be, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude. But the program was not engaging.
It
And
just
they
wasn't as
had
interactive.
It wasn't interactive at all. And they had this weather balloon blown up. The people who were presenting were standing on top of the dugout, which is exactly where the science education day presentation was. And then there was someone behind the netting on the field with the weather balloon. And I kept expecting we're going to do something really cool with the weather balloon. And we never did.
No, I actually felt kinda bad for him. He must have been so hot just standing there
I
holding a weather
know.
balloon for an hour.
And one of the guys from the National Weather Service was a storm chaser. And so he
I
showed a
actually think
couple.
I think he was from the news station.
That's right. That's right. He was from the news
Yes.
station. They showed some of his videos and stuff, and it was all on the Jumbotron, which from where we were sitting, you're kind of like looking through the netting at it. And be- I don't know if it hadn't have been so hot, would my
Yes.
kids have been into it? I don't know. But it was so hot, and it was just not as interactive as we went into it expecting.
Yes. And we had set our kids' expectations.
Yes.
Remember the science guy, the science machine, and, like, how fun that was? That's what we're coming back to do. I mean, your daughter and my son both ended up, like, on the ground underneath their seats because they
Yeah.
were hot.
Yeah.
And I think I want to say, like, everybody was so knowledgeable,
So
and
knowledgeable.
one of the newscasters in particular had, like, a ton of energy and showed a lot of personality, but there was nothing to look at. It was a lot of just the kids being talked to,
Right. Like
which
lecture style almost.
yes, which I think for some kids does work, and I wonder what the experience would have been like for my son if I would have set his expectations differently. He's 5, so a lot of, like, what he responds to is how well I prepared him.
Yeah.
I do think that a lot of the older kids in the
Yes.
crowd really enjoyed that more lecture style because they had, like, the foundations for it
Yes.
and
Yeah,
the
I
age appropriate.
say after experiencing both that science education day is like K through 6th and weather education day is like, I mean, I would venture to say 7th through 12th. Like my
Yeah,
daughter's in 3rd grade and very interested in weather and she was not interested.
yeah. So, our families both ended up needing to go find some shade, and so I think we both in that time that we were standing up and waiting, and the stadium wasn't open yet, which we didn't really know this piece because in the spring when we went, both of our families stayed for the whole program, and by the time we got up out of our seats, the whole stadium was open. But, like, we were kind of confined to this area and stuck in the shade, and I think we both were like, "Oh, no, like, this isn't what we expected or necessarily what we advertised too."
Got the vibe too that the coordinators of the event, or at least the staff that was kind of working it, I could see like some apprehension on their face because we were not the only families who started getting up and walking up to the shaded areas. And I could see the staff members kind of looking at each other like, what do we do? Like, because they're very intentional with placing you in your seats. Like, you can't just
Yes.
go sit wherever you want when you come in. They direct you to fill in so that there's a section of seating that is completely full. And so I mean, shortly after we got up, we were not the first family to get up for one, but shortly after we got up, it was like a bunch of people kept getting up. And so I just, I for sure don't think that it was age appropriate for my kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
They
mean, you
just
know
weren't
your kids.
interested.
Like, some kids younger than that, like 7th grade, might really enjoy it. You know your kids, but I think that you're absolutely correct in that, like, the spring program felt geared more towards, like, elementary age, maybe a little bit into that middle school age, and then this felt much more like middle school aged into high school.
Yes, because so this was our experience. However, the bulk, if not all, of the people we took did not go to Science Education Day.
Correct.
And so most of them, because afterwards we were like, you guys, we're so sorry. Like, we hyped you up for this thing, and that's not the program that you got. And they're like, no, like, it was actually really interesting. And so I think that just goes to show that perspective it does,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they had no expectations other than we
Right?
had said it's a good time. And they're like, yeah, it was hot and, but it was cool information.
I think aside from our 2 families and, like, one other family that we are personally close with through a lot of the other activities that we do, we were the only ones from our group that I think got up early.
Yeah.
And, yeah, everyone I talked to said this was fantastic. We liked it so much. And I was even surprised driving home. I just wanted to check in with my son. It's been a long, hot day. Did he get anything from the education programming? And he was like, "I loved seeing the weather balloon, and I really liked watching those storm chaser videos. I thought it was really neat to see tornadoes." Like, he took a lot more from it. Like, in the
He
moment, I was like
retained.
he retained, and he was like, "I just was really hot." And I was like, "Okay, well, maybe, like," I guess I'm saying that to say if you have a 13-year-old who you know would love that, and you have a 6-year-old who you're like, "Oh, no, like, are they gonna be miserable during" No, they're not gonna be miserable, like, it was
No.
still beneficial. I don't know that it felt to him like he walked away with new knowledge, but he
Sure.
retained things, and he thought it was neat, and he's still talking about the weather balloon. Like, when he has a balloon, he's like, "I'm pretending this is my weather balloon. I'm gonna go stand on the field and hold," which, I mean, I think we were all waiting for that weather balloon to get released, but it
To
did
do
not.
something.
It did not get released. It stayed there.
After the presentation,
Yes.
we all made our way up to our seats, and once we got up there, we had sent my husband and one of the other husbands to go grab the food, and they had to do 2 trips. That's how much, because I mean, they give you cases of water and all these boxes of food, and we had this system set up where we were passing, because we all kinda sat together, so we're passing things down the line. "Here's your hot dog. Here's your" doing all this. Think about this all the time, and this is just a little rabbit trail, but go with me. This man in some sort of like worker uniform, I don't know if he worked with the Braves or if he was just there, I don't know. But he comes down. So we're up in the nosebleeds. He's up further than us because he comes down and he leans in to tell me something and he says, "Hey, you're doing a really good job. I just wanted to let you know in case nobody's told you today, you're doing a great job." And I was like, my gosh, thanks. I don't know, like, I wanted to ask follow-up questions, but then he was just gone.
So we're on, like, 3 we had, like, 3 different rows, but we were kind of, like, like uneven on them. And so I was at the end of one and Kayla was at the end of that one. And then I so she was facilitating getting the things passed and I was facilitating making sure that like further down the rows and like below and above had everything that they needed so that I could then like communicate back to Kayla like, hey, we need two more, whatever we needed. And so all of a sudden Kayla's like making a face at me and like, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, we've made it this long and there hasn't been an actual problem. What's going on? Because you were like right now, and you were like, we just got a compliment. We're doing a
I'm
good
like,
job.
I have no idea
Exit
what
to
he
hear
meant by
this.
that. Yeah, like I have no idea what he meant by that, or if he's just like wanting to encourage a mom. I don't know, but it was just really kind, and it made me. It was just a nice reminder that when you have the chance to compliment someone, when you see a mom at the grocery store who's just trying to hold the chaos together, like just that word of encouragement meant so much. And what is it? We're mid-October now. This happened in September. Almost a month has passed, and I'm still thinking about that.
And you
And
passed it on, like you
and I
shared it with
passed it
me.
on.
Like it
Yeah.
ripples, When you tell someone something encouraging, it ripples out. And just such good evidence that we all need to hear that sometimes.
Yeah.
And then there were several people who were with us that were like, this you guys did a really great job organizing this. Thank you. This was really wonderful. It was seamless. It was smooth. And like just as a reminder, or if you did not listen to the Braves Science Education Day episode that we've done, we moved in between the program and the baseball game to different
Mhm.
seats.
Right.
So that blistering heat that we were talking about in the morning for the science program, by the time we had moved up in the stadium to our seats, they are covered. There was a breeze.
Lovely.
It was really pleasant. We learned some new things too, even though I think we went in feeling like we got this. We
Yeah.
learned that you can order vegan, gluten-free hot dogs.
Yeah, okay, so when I originally placed the order, she did not ask if we had any needed any vegan hot dogs or gluten-free buns. I just, like, placed the order, moving on. And my plan was just to, take my hot dog out and take a napkin and just, like, wipe it off, whatever. That's what I did the last time.
That's
And
what I usually do at the stadium.
right. So, when I called back I had to place that second order for the extra tickets. She said, "Are any of those vegan or gluten-free?" And I said, "No, none of those are, but we have some in our original group. Can I do that? Like, is that a thing? No one told me that was a thing." And she said, "Oh, yeah." And so I said, "Yeah, we have 3 that we need to be gluten-free." So she said, "Okay." What we found out when we got our hot dogs is that it is not a gluten-free bun or a vegan hot dog. It is a gluten-free bun and a vegan hot dog.
You get the whole dietary needs package.
So I am going to ask when we do Science Education Day in the spring, because we absolutely will.
Yeah, we
Seriously,
will.
please, please, if you are local and want to do this with us, it is so fun. We would love to have, most of the folks from this field trip were from our local group. We did have one family from the church that I used to go to back where we lived before, but I would love just to have this you know, amalgamation of people from all over,
Yes.
coming together and getting to meet one another. I think that would be so fun. So when we
Yes.
do that, I am going to ask, is there any way to get a gluten-free bun and a regular hot dog? Because if I wasn't sure before, I am sure now that I am not interested in being vegan.
Nor am I, and nor is my son. And I was grateful that I had still, even though I knew you had ordered that for us, I still packed our gallon-sized bag with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and some snacks because we were just fine with the snacks and what I had after we both took a bite of our vegan hot dogs and confirmed that we are not vegan.
But it was so
And
kind
no
of
offense
them.
if you are. No offense if you are.
No,
Just
none at
not for
all.
me.
It's just yeah, not my journey. But it was so kind of them to I think it's really awesome that they have that
Yes.
option because I mean, I had no idea. And, ballpark hot dogs, I mean, I'm sure they're just not great for you, but there's just something about a ballpark hot dog, you know?
And do you go to a Braves game every day?
No.
Oh,
So you can
so
have one when you go.
to have one when you go is fine. So and it was a good game.
It was a
It was a
great
good
game.
game. What I was grateful for is that it was, like, a faster game than the one
Yeah.
we had gone to in the spring, like, the innings
Yeah.
were moving pretty fast. And this time, I did join you in the kids area.
Yes, we
We
spent a
took a
lot of
break.
time in the kids area.
We spent a lot of time in the kids area. I think both of our sons met Blooper.
Yep.
I don't know if your daughter did.
She's not real big on, costumed individuals. Like,
Same.
she's fine with, like, a Disney princess or, um, something like that, but yeah, it's funny. She said to me we were talking about Disney princesses really they just live at Disney World, like, that's where they exist, and she was like, "Except for Elsa, because she came to the house one time." Because we had an Elsa come to her birthday party when she turned 5. So
I
that
was like,
she's
"Wait,
fine with.
which of your friends looks like Elsa?"
No, we hired someone. But, like, give her a Chick-fil-A cow or, like, we wanted to go to the skating rink when they had the trolls, like Poppy and Branch there, and no, not happening. So Blooper's not really on her radar. But she did get in the little kids' baseball field and hit the
Yeah,
ball and do that. So that was
that's
cool.
awesome. Did your son do that?
I don't think so. I
Mine
think
did.
he climbed the rock wall,
Mine did that too.
but I don't think he did the baseball field.
Yeah, we did Blooper, which I did not know that about your daughter. She and I have that in common. I am
Yeah,
not a
not a
big
fan.
and I used to work, um, at several different colleges and universities, and I would have, like, jobs where it was, like, my job to, like, take the mascot around, and I would be like, "I this is the worst part of my job. Like, give me the paperwork. I will sit and do all the boring paperwork, but I don't like this." And I knew they were, like, college students. They could have been in my class, but I something about, like, the whole, "I can't tell you who I am, and I can't talk to you," like, I don't know, I wanna see your eyes. But my son really wanted to meet Blooper, and I had a moment because your husband and son were in front and my husband didn't go this time. They were in front of me, and I almost tried to pawn my son off on your husband. Like, "Can he just go with you guys?" But I was, motherhood makes
Glad
us
you
brave.
didn't though, because
We got a
you
great
got
picture.
a great picture. Can we put it on the socials?
Absolutely.
Okay, we will put it on the socials, and it's perfect because Blooper had no idea he was actually, like, doing the thing
Helping
he
me.
needed to
Yeah.
do to help you put the photo on the socials because he's covering your faces.
Yes, yes.
Did I just say faces really weird?
I
I
don't
feel like
think
I
so.
just said faces really weird, but
It was
he's covering your faces, and so that
yes,
was really cool.
it was fun. And, like, motherhood makes you brave, right? Yep. Yeah. And there
And a
was there
blooper.
was other stuff there that we didn't do, like coloring,
Yeah, I
but
don't think my kids
we
did the
did the rock
coloring.
climbing, and then my son did the baseball. That line was long and hot. Again, I got hot there again. They have the misters.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? And then there was the drumming. You talked about that the last
Mhm.
time. The
Mhm.
drumming, and my son got to drum. He didn't like it as much as I thought he would, but
Mm.
that's okay. He's allowed to not like something I didn't think he would.
Yeah. Yeah, we spent a lot of time. My husband and I kinda tag teamed that day, like, he stayed with my son and I stayed with my daughter because it was like they would wanna be watching the game, and then they would wanna be at the kids. I mean, we were just back and forth. My husband actually joked at the end of the game, he was like, "This is the longest I've ever stayed at a Braves game watching the least amount of baseball." Because here's the other fun thing. So, our family had decided we did not get to stay and have, like, the whole experience in the Battery and do all the things during the science education day. And so we made sure to clear the calendar. We're doing this for Weather Education Day. And somebody, I can't even remember who it was, told us, hey, they're letting the kids run the bases after the game.
It's
And they
me.
don't, was it you?
It was
Okay.
me.
So they don't,
Someone stopped me and told me on my way in,
okay.
and then I passed it on to the group.
And they don't normally do that on a Wednesday. And so it was a big deal that they were doing it that day, and we've never done that, and because we have never made it to the end of the game, but we made it to the end of the game, and you go
Nice.
line up during the 8th inning, and you're under the stadium, so, it's not like you're in the sun or whatever, and our kids we were with a couple other families from our group, and so all the kids could just kinda play, and then, yeah, after the game's over, you literally go like, we passed the locker room for the Braves going under the stadium. And
Cool.
the big kitchen, like, we had to stop and wait because they were rolling out a tray of food, and then you come out onto the field, and they have you walking around, and they really man, well-oiled machine because they have workers there, and one sign says "Kids this way," and one sign has the adults pointing the other way. So the adults keep walking, and the kids turn right and start running the bases, and the adults walk over to home plate where they'll end up. And I mean, they're just, like, funneling you through there. They know what they're doing. But it was really cool. I mean, cool for me because 'cause I'm getting to be on the field, but my kids were
Yeah.
stoked because 'cause they're getting to run the bases that they've just seen these Major League Baseball players run. So that was a lot of fun.
That's so cool. You can tell probably from my reactions that we did not stay for that. I was like, "Hey, everybody, I have to tell you this while my son's not listening because I know I'm not staying for this. Kids can run the bases, but I will be gone." We actually once we left our seats and went down to the kids area and did the rock climbing and the blooper and the little baseball field that they have there, we were so hot, and my son looked at me and he said, "Mommy, I'm done." And I was like, "You got it, dude. Like, we're not gonna push it." We went
Yeah.
inside, we had, like our big moment that day was that he got his first popsicle from King of Pops,
I
which
love it.
yeah, which I have been, like, waiting for that moment because King of Pops, when I first moved to Atlanta,
So
I was
good.
like, "What is this amazing popsicle place?"
Incredible.
Like, I didn't even know there were popsicle places.
King of
So,
Pops is
he got
next
his King
level.
of Pops. We walked and we got some food. I did learn something about the validation that I want to correct from the Science Education Day episode we did about the spring is we said you can go eat and get it validated. Your meal ticket actually has to be $50 or more for them to validate it. So that is like a correction tip that we wanna give. And, I mean, if you ask me, would I rather pay $50 on parking or $50 on food,
Always food.
but
Always food.
and in the spring, when we went, my husband came with us, and we went out to eat afterwards, and the 3 of us combined did
Sure.
spend more than $50, so we didn't even realize it. But my son and I, just like we were hot and he'd had his popsicle, we ended up sharing a plate of food and not meeting that minimum. So, that's a correction, and a piece of advice is I mean, we still say go eat and get your parking validated, but
Yeah.
just make sure you buy enough food to do that.
Well, and if you're going as a family, I mean, yeah, I'll just say our family had no problem making that minimum. We went and ate at Yard House afterward, and it was their food is just so good. They have these Brussels sprouts that, oh my gosh, are just out of this world. They're so good. I mean, I
I love their
literally could
cheese
have.
curd. Their
Are
cheese
they
before
fried?
I yeah, I mean, before this is from before I couldn't eat both the breading or the oil, but they're so good. I still think about them.
Well, this is one of my favorites because we have consistently had really, really good service. The servers are always so helpful and so nice, and they're very efficient. I mean, even on a game day, I expected us to have to wait, but we walked in and they immediately, like, had a booth for us. So, it was really, really lovely, and then we went and got some Jenny's ice cream, which
Yeah,
you
you
had
did.
introduced me to in July, and so then I took my family and introduced them. It was so good, and oh my gosh, they had oh I'm just, like, dreaming of it right now. This caramel apple crisp ice cream, and historically, when you see caramel apple crumble or caramel apple crisp, there's going to be pie pieces in there, so I may not partake. But this one was marked gluten-free, and I even went down the line because it's, like, 3 sections, and each section has the same ice cream in it so that they can have multiple workers working, whatever. And so I went down and I even made sure on each section it was marked gluten-free just in case there had been, like, a typo because I had been burned before. And oh my gosh, I was
Yeah,
in
they're
heaven.
fall
It was lovely.
flavors.
It was lovely.
Yes. I didn't make it to Jenny's that time because 'cause he'd had his King of Pops, and
Yeah.
he didn't really want anything else, and I had thankfully had Jenny's the weekend before. I had been at the Wild and Free conference in Franklin and just 2 days before and had gotten my Jenny's fix, but I did leave, like, a little bit like, "I can't believe I didn't get Jenny's before I left." But it all in all, it was still a fantastic day,
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, we left our house at 7:30 that morning, and we didn't get home till, like, 5:30. It was wild.
and, again $15. $15 got you
$15?
the educational program, the ticket to the game, and the food. And I think we said in the spring that both of us felt like the $15 without the food and the game, the $15 for the educational program. And I maybe feel like the flip this time, like the
Yeah, I agree.
$15 to get to go to the game and do that with a bunch of other homeschool families. And, you know, again, it wasn't like a total wash. My son did take some things away from it. And other families are still talking about how much they liked the weather programming. So it just maybe wasn't for our families, our kids, maybe not in this season. And a good lesson for us in setting expectations
Yeah.
correctly,
Yeah.
both for the people
100%.
we took on the field trip and our own children.
Yeah. But it was such a low risk first field trip for us to host because
Yes.
we were super familiar with the stadium and the formatting of the day.
Yes.
And the Braves are so easy to work with. So it was a great way to kick off our Homeschooling Down South field trips. And
Absolutely.
they were so kind. They sent me a card. Did I tell you this
No.
off mic? They sent me a card. Isabel de Armas that I've worked with sent me a handwritten thank you note from the Braves.
Amazing.
I know. And in it, she said, we hope you'll come back and join us for Science Education Day. We'll reach out when we have those dates. And I actually did, knowing we were recording this today, I checked yesterday on the website just to see, knowing like the spring schedule's not out, so it wouldn't be out, but it's not there. As soon as it's available, we're going to put those dates out. And I'm hoping that those of us who have been before and worked with them before might even get a little like pre-sale situation so that we can kind of get ahead of the game. But I would love to take as many of you as possible to Science Education Day because the science machine truly is just such a gift to the educational community. I mean, I don't care how you school your children. He is awesome.
Yes.
And I just would love for the homeschoolers to really show out for that event.
Agreed. So, Kayla, do you have a win from that day?
Okay, so I have two. One is homeschooling related, one is just for my family. But my first one is that we did it. We did our first field trip from start to finish. We executed a field trip, and that feels really awesome.
It does.
And then two, my second one is my family stayed for the whole game. And I understand that we were up and down and whatever, but that was a really big milestone because my kids, bless their hearts, they hung on and they really bonded. There was another family that is in a couple of our other spheres and that we kind of hung out with a lot that day, and they really bonded with the kids in that family. So it was really fun to see these new relationships, blossoming. And my husband and her husband got to be buddies, which was really nice. But it was like, man, we did it. We did the whole day. We know that our family can stay for the whole game if we want to. And it just felt really lovely.
Does that make you feel more like you'd be willing to spend actual ticket price money to go to a game as a family now that you know they can hang? No. It's still best when you go for the education days.
Here's
That's the
why.
ringing endorsement.
Here's why is I'm okay that it was $15 and we didn't really get to watch the whole game. We were kind of up
Yeah.
and down moving around. If we'd paid, I don't know, $50, $60 for nice seats and I'm not in my seats half the time because I'm up walking around, I would feel like I had wasted some money because then we'd be paying the $50, $60 per seat, mind you.
Right, right.
And then also having to buy food because the food wasn't with it. I cannot stress enough this educational programming situation that they have created is so beneficial. And so many of us homeschooling families are one income families. And I think I've said it before, or one income plus mom's hustling on the side.
Yes.
And so this is a very cost efficient way for my family. What my family paid as a whole for the four of us to go to do this thing is as much as like one seat in the
One
200
ticket.
level would cost. Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. And so it's just so worth it. It's so worth it.
Well, and I think what you said about doing it alongside other homeschool families, whether they're people that you already are in community with or like these are new
Yeah.
relationships, because I do think some new relationships budded out of
And
the group.
we met so many new people that are in our physical community that we had
Yes.
never met before.
Yes. So,
So that
all
was
right,
really good.
Kayla, where can they find you?
They can find me at scratchmadesimple _ on Instagram and at scratchmadesimple on TikTok. Where can they find you, Kat?
Recreating Camp, and you can find us at Homeschooling Down South on all the socials. If you want to know more about field trips, if you have a field trip you think we should go on, if you know of some cool science education programming that will help us not make messes in our homes, email us at hello@homeschoolingdownsouth.com. And if you liked what you heard today, please leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening.
And share with
We'll
a
see you next
friend.
week. Share with a friend. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
And we'll love together, we'll learn together, explore this whole wide world together. No matter where we are.